Morning, we are back on the house build and we're actually outside today. So we're garden build. Wayne is in a far happier mood because I've been working with him for the last couple of days, so he is well happy now. Basically what we've got out here, we've got a patio area that's going outside the bifold doors, and then I've got some raised beds that I wanted that we can grow all our fruit and veg and everything in. So all the footings are dug out for that ready. So we've got concrete coming with a pump to pump that round and put it in. And then basically now we've just got to get the drainage, any water pipes or any services that we need through. So Wayne's already started. We've picked up the rainwater pipe downspout from the far side of the garage, and there's an overflow and a couple of points around there where we can pick up surface water as well. So that's running through. We've got a gully pot, it runs through, again picks up another 2 points where we're picking up water from the patio and water from the roof of the garage, and then it comes through into a chamber underneath the sunken garden, and then basically we're going to get rid of it along the front. Another detail there is we wanted level threshold, so that means obviously the transition between outside and inside I want it to be as level as possible. So we've got an eco drain that runs all the way around the outside and underneath effectively all the doorways and everything like that, that then will be piped round and into this drainage system, the surface water system that's going to go off down the way. So that gives a clear separation between obviously outside and inside, and it stops any damp getting against the building. So all that's going in as we speak, and then on top of that we've also run water out. So in the raised borders we've run a 25mm alkathene pipe to the end of each one of the borders, so we can put a dribble bar in thereafter. We've run everything through ducts as well, so if there is ever any problems, that basically we can pull that water pipe out and put a new one in. Although there's no joints underground, we've done it in one singular pipe. We just want to make sure that if there is ever any problems, we haven't got to dig the patio up to get back to them. So we've got them in ducts, we've got the flower beds or the raised borders sorted in terms of water, and then that water supply we brought round here now so that can service hosepipe points throughout the rest of the house for any plant pots or anything that's going on. So what we'll do then is when the footings are in, the next job then will be start the brickwork and the block work. So on the outer face of the borders it will be brick face, the same brick as what we've got around the rest of the place. Inside will just be concrete solid blocks. We'll wrap a membrane up to almost like tank the sides so no damp can weep through the beds into the brickwork and make the brickwork green. All the drainage again will be picked up at the far end and run back through the pipe work. Electric, I don't think we need anything electric out there, and if we do we can probably put that in afterwards anyway, but it would only be for some low level lighting or anything like that. When we built the house and the garage, our site was on a slope like that, so effectively we've dug in and took that down to a level, so we've ended up with this height difference as we go along the back of the site. So I want the raised borders, the patio, everything all at the same level, but I also want access onto our forest when it's finally grown. But our little planted up area of trees up the top here. So what we've done then is we're going to put a retaining wall, so it's the same height roughly as what the raised borders will be, and that retaining wall will go in. The ground then can be backfilled, and we'll put a French drain along the back edge that runs around and connects into everything we've got going on drainage wise with the gully pot down there. So basically that French drain will come along this wall, pick any surface water then that is coming from that side this way, it stops it getting onto the patio area. So again we'll sort of tank that with a visqueen up, put the perforated pipe in, backfill it then with pea gravel, and then obviously backfill all the clay and then soil back to it, and then everything thereafter will be seeded up and it will be grass around the trees. So then we'll have a ramp that end, a ramp this end. The only thing I've got to sort out after that is that's the mains electric box that you can see in the background that comes onto the site, and from there the farm, the gate and the other bits and the house is fed as 3 separate supplies. I obviously can't move that, but it looks horrible, so I'm going to have to reclad that or rethink that, maybe brick built skin round it with another roof on it so it looks a bit tidier, because it's going to look a bit rubbish sat in the corner. Served its purpose when we first come, but now obviously I want to try and get everything finished so it all looks nice and tidy. I'm going to get on, finish these drains with Wayne, get everything prepped up and ready for concrete, and then I need to get back to the office to confirm these windows because I still haven't done that with window Wayne yet.
I'm too young to drink, I'm too drunk to dance. Oh yeah, I've got to be careful, it's only in 3 mil, isn't it? The packers ran by the trailer.
Okay, so a few days on now, the foundations were poured outside at the same time as what the screed in here was poured. So we used the same pump, or Wayne did because I wasn't here. So they pumped all the screed in upstairs and downstairs in here, and then they cleared the pump out basically and used that same pump to pour all the footings around the back, which was great use because obviously we paid 1 day for the pump, we've done both floors, we've done all them footings, so it saved us a load of money of having a pump for a second day. So that's brilliant. So screed is now all laid. Now we did say we'd show you guys warts and all, so we'll show you a little bit of warts upstairs in a second. But while we're down here, I thought we'd go through the ceiling timbers. So I showed you the ceiling hanging brackets before. You can see now they're all fitted, and Wayne has started fitting the ceiling timbers. So in here, basically we've got a plasterboard prop. So if you've got little weak arms like Wayne, then you can use one of them to hold it up. I personally would have just held it with one hand and screwed it with the other. But that's how he does it. So he's fitting these ceiling timbers at the minute. And basically what they'll do is we leave them slightly away from the wall so that when James, the electrician, or anybody else needs to get any services, they've got the ability to go straight the way up. So we set that in slightly so it's still close enough to carry the plasterboard, and then the timbers are put at 600 centres all the way across the room. Now 600 centres are to suit plasterboard again, so that's how we want that doing. And then basically, in a nutshell, if you imagine my hands are these brackets, when you put them on, they're basically hanging everything like that. Now at that point, effectively, there's nothing to stop them timbers moving from side to side like that. So what Wayne will do then is put another timber going the other way and screw it together so it acts as like a cross brace. So it'll stop everything from moving or having any movement whatsoever. So again, all the services then will be in that void between the timbers and between the concrete beams. So the kitchen's got a bit more in, we're going to have a look in the kitchen. So again, all the way through the hallway as well. Now, there's a little bit more thought process that goes into these than just whacking up the timbers at 600 centres, because you've got to think about the lighting as well. So whatever lights that you've got going on, for argument's sake, what you don't want is if you were having a central row of spotlights down this hallway, you wouldn't want a timber there because that timber will then be in the way of where your light fitting's going to go. So you can't fit it, so you're going to have to go offset and then it'll look wrong in the room. So basically what Wayne's done, when he's put these through, he's given us the void for services on the edge, and he split it accordingly so that the room itself, the centre line is here. So when we put a centre row of spotlights into the ceiling, basically it can fit there without interfering with any of the timber. Kitchen wise, we've got a lot more going on in the ceiling. So up here we've got not just the normal lights, but also there'll be decorative lights. So we've got to weigh up our options over the dining table, over the island, and then we've also got the heat recovery system, which are these green pipes that we brought in, if you remember. So they've got to go to like a ceiling vent as such, which I want the same colour as what we paint the ceiling, so they're less visible. So there'll be them to fit. Again, you don't want them offset looking oddball in the middle of the room. There'll be things like a fire alarm that's got to be fitted. There might be some water pipes and bits and bobs that we've got to get round. There's all the electrics to get to and from, not just the lighting, but all of the power to get to and from all the appliances and sockets and everything like that. So this is going to be a really busy area. So basically there's a lot of thought that goes into fitting these timbers before they're actually gone in, and they're all mapped out. So when you come to fit them, then brackets, like I said, they hang down. There's 2 legs hanging down. You basically slide the timber in between them. When you get the timber where you want them, they've got holes all down the side. You screw a couple of screws up either side into that, and you fold that metalwork round, and then your plasterboard effectively will go on the underside of that afterwards. So at the moment, basically everything gets put up in the air with a screw in it, every so many brackets, and then to make sure it's all level and true, Wayne will put his box level on and basically level everything up as best he possibly can, because these concrete beams are designed to be pre-stressed so that they sit up slightly, so that they're almost raised in the middle. All the weight of the blocks, the screed, insulation, absolutely everything starts weighing it down and they flatten off, but ultimately they're never going to be 100% true. So the idea of the timber and these brackets is they're adjustable so that you can move it up or down to suit it, so you've got a perfectly flat ceiling throughout. So the problems that we had, problems that Wayne had, should I say, when he pulled the screed, is it was quite a tall order to go for not just both floors of screed in the house on the same day, but also to have the footings on the outside as well. It was going brilliantly, according to Wayne. Everything in terms of in the house had been poured, it was all perfectly finished, all the doors and everything were shut up and it was job done. Loads of time then transitioning over to the concrete for the footings outside, so it was all going swimmingly until end of the day, just before they come to leave. Wayne basically poked his head through the doors to have a look and we had a shutter gone. So what happened there, this is the dumbwaiter shaft, and basically there was a shutter. Now I'm gonna have to blame Wayne for this. Although I fitted the shutter and the shutter ultimately failed, Wayne is project manager, and as project manager he probably should have checked my work to make sure it was done properly. Therefore I can't be held accountable. It was definitely Wayne that cocked this up. But ultimately my shutter failed here, and when Wayne's poked his head through the door, he's basically seen that an element of this floor here, luckily it had gone off a bit, because if it hadn't we'd have lost the whole area down there, but we have started losing the edges here. Now if you remember, I said we zoned areas out. There's a stud wall that comes along here to face off the dumbwaiter, so basically there is no pipework within this section here. So the fact that there's no underfloor heating there means that we were able to step in, basically, because you can't walk in it once it's going off, otherwise you'd ruin the rest of it. So we've had to, as best we can, step in, put a foot there, trowel up what area around we could to make the best of a bad situation, and then ultimately what we'll have to do is tidy this up, re-shutter it and pour some self-leveling screed to sort of level it back up, ready for the flooring to go on. Like I say, the fact that there's no underfloor heating pipes in there, it doesn't cause a massive problem. It was just such a shame that they'd had such a good day, everything was poured, done, finished, perfect, and then the one little bit that I did that Wayne should have checked on went wrong. However, I will say the other bit of technical shuttering that I did was I put this piece of insulation, I cut it into the right size square and I basically plonked it in, which has acted as a shutter for where the shower trays go in. So basically afterwards, all the screed is up to that, pull that insulation out, and then all the waste water pipe gets fit within that void with dry screed through. There's no need for underfloor heating in that bit because that's under the shower. So we dry screed that through, and basically it means that we don't have to have a massive step into your shower unit. So some houses, if you've got block and beam or screed floor and you didn't do that void there, you've got all that waste pipe, everything to fit underneath, so you'll have a taller step into your shower unit, whereas what we've done now, you'll have back down to your minimal 40-50mm or whatever it is. So that bit I got right, the other bit I got wrong. Like I say, I'm not project manager. Okay, so that is it for this episode on the house build. We showed you some of the screed being poured in the montage on the last house build video, so if you want to see that, click here. So if you like what you've seen, drop us a comment in the box, ring the bell and hit subscribe, and we'll leave you guys with a garden build montage.
What's the sound for, Wayne?
I think Lee's dug the oversight off too low again, so we're just shuttering it up. Oh yeah? Thinking that myself. Just more sand.
Look, when the camera's on, so he's the only one working, isn't he? Have you noticed that?
Yeah,
Eh?
Lee will.